Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. Welcome to another Monday Mastery, where we take a pulse on the current energies, review this past week, and call in some guidance on how to move forward. Another interesting week. Luckily, we didn't have a lot of solar weather. Again, it's a bit of a lull considering we are at solar maximum. We did have an X-class solar flare on Tuesday this past week. It was an X2 and it was pretty strong. Most of us noticed a feeling of just being flattened, basically, very tired, a need for a nap, or unfortunately, some of us reached for caffeine. But throughout the rest of the week, it was just a handful of M-class solar flares, and a little more than a handful of C-class solar flares. Quite a few Schumann resonance spikes throughout the week. I do want to point out this is due to typical lightning. Lightning is common in the areas where the Schumann resonance devices are at this time of the year. So do keep an eye out for a lot of hype, a lot of reading into the Schumann resonance when it can actually just be associated to the local weather and the lightning storms. It was an interesting week, to say the least, as far as the energy is concerned. This is a timeless reading for any of you who might stumble into this later. That solar weather piece is a small portion of the overarching message. So whenever you find this, this is for you and likely will pertain to your life and the messages that you need to hear at this time. It's interesting that, again, we had a full moon yesterday, and yet the energy isn't quite as activated as it typically is around a full moon. Again, it's low solar weather relative to a peak solar maximum space and time, as they are saying. Of course, we need to be in hindsight to be able to say for sure. But it's an interesting dynamic how the energies are amplified, and yet there's not a lot to point to, or we would think they would be more amplified, and they're not. So it's very interesting juxtaposition right now. Lots of movement throughout this past week, a lot of expansion, a lot of revelations, things opening up, abundance flowing in. Things that felt stuck or stagnant or not moving have started to move this past week, which has been fun to see. And yet at the same time, the pressure, the intensity that we had been feeling for about the week and a half prior to that is starting to come down, to decrease. We are feeling a little bit less pressure. And what I'm noticing is that after these moments of extreme intensity, pressure, shifts, and changes, we are followed with a fatigue, which is interesting. Again, like I was saying, having a full moon yesterday, usually there's a lot more energy that comes with that. But feeling sort of a lull in energy today, or a decline in the energy, which would be appropriate post full moon as we start to feel the tail off or the drop off. But it seems faster this time. There certainly can be various experiences. Some people feel more activated, some people feel really fatigued. So make space for whatever it is that you are experiencing. Have the highest levels of self-care and grace. Give yourself permission for whatever you are experiencing, and trust that it is needed. It is part of your path. And it is also interesting too how we went through a few weeks of a lot of big shifts and changes, a lot of intensity. Then that was followed by a couple of weeks of kind of trying to figure out, where were we at? How have things shifted and changed? What's new? How am I going to approach this differently? How do I need to shift and adjust my expectations? How is the world different? And how do I operate in this new world? And now it feels as though we've gained some of that clarity, but we still want a bit more. Things are still shifting and presenting itself. There's still a little bit of shift and change, even though it's happening a little bit more slowly than we would like. It's again that juxtaposition of like driving with the foot on the brake kind of feel. So we just want to allow it to be what it is, and keep the impatience, keep the frustration under control. Just let it be what it is. Breathe into it. Rest into the sensations in the body. really get familiar with the friends of your emotions that are the sensations in your body. Recommit to your practices, whether it's meditation or yoga, detoxing, fasting, all of these things. They very easily could have fallen by the wayside with all of this shifting and changing. It's very easy to lose yourself in the process of being distracted by whatever big things are coming up for you. And so now, as the intensity decreases, the new path continues to present itself. You might feel that fatigue, the need for rest. Recommit to the practices. This is really important. Get back into the fasting and the meditation and the prayer and the detoxing and all those things. Have grace for yourself. If you did sort of fall off the wagon of whatever practices that you typically have, remember that there is a strengthening in our resolve by stepping off and back onto the path, that we are demonstrating our commitments, and that all has benefit. It all has support for strengthening our resolve towards those things. Do notice that if you have any doubts or fears or uncertainties or concerns, frustrations coming up, those are parts of yourself that are presenting. And there's something called internal family systems in psychology. That means we're made up of different parts, all the different areas, ages, stages, archetypes. They're all different parts within you, and they all hold a piece of the puzzle. They all hold a key to your subconscious and your programs. And so we want to notice if you feel frustration or fear or anxiety or whatever it is. Look at the sensation in the body, get familiar with that emotion, notice how old does that part of you feel, and that kind of helps guide you towards which part is presenting, who's showing up, what do they need from you. They need your love and attention. They need your grace. They need your compassion. They need your support. So be willing to spend time with those emotions, with the sensations in the body, and with those parts. Hold him or her, give her or him the comfort and the encouragement that they either need in this moment and or likely did not receive when you were in that stage of your life. Encourage them, reassure them it's going to be okay. Everything is perfectly fine exactly as it is. Although I will say there's a bit of a discomfort in the energy. Again, that driving with the brake on kind of feel. I was looking for a word earlier and I wasn't going to say this, but it's really the best word that I can offer. There's a bit of an ick to the energy. It's just kind of like, I'm noticing this old tendency likely, right? Especially for those of us who have experienced complex trauma in childhood. We have this tendency to look for the problem. And so there's a bit of a stronger tendency towards that right now, where there's this kind of a dis-ease, a kind of a feeling of something's up, something's not quite right. Where's the problem? What do I have to look out for? And just know that it's all okay, that you may be tapping into a collective energy. You may be letting go of old worries and fears at a subconscious, implicit, somatic level, which means a cellular level, right? In the body holds memory. And so these are not necessarily things to worry about. They are things to feel and be present with and soften into so that it can move through you and out. But there's no need to worry. There are no problems. Everything is perfect exactly as it is. It's okay to just be. If you're feeling fatigued, just be, right? Practice being a human being instead of a human doing. We don't always have to be productive. Let things work themselves out. This really is always an energy conversation. Get your energy right, find alignment, notice what does your being need right now and feed it that. Maybe it is a nap, maybe it is putting your feet on the ground, and trust that things are being worked out for you. Let the divine do the work. In these moments where we're feeling a lot of fatigue or we're feeling called to rest, it's kind of like the divine says, I got this, you go sit and chill out. Right. I've also noticed that we have these ebbs and flows, obviously, with the energy that's going to move that way. It's actually more circular, but point being, we have these times of activation, then times of readjustment, then times of fatigue and rest, and that precedes another moment of activation. And so we have to take advantage of these times where we're being offered that gift of preparation for what is to come. right? Embrace what you are feeling called to most strongly in this moment. Know that it is what is for you. You don't have to look to others, and we should I hesitate to use the word should, but be very careful about shoulding all over yourself. There is no should. Just because the person next to you is feeling energized and they've got a lot of get up and go and they're ready, that does not mean that you should be that way. Don't should all over yourself. So just notice whatever you're being called to and honor that. Prepare in whatever way you can. I very strongly feel called to preparation through the strengthening of the body. That again is me personally. Maybe for you, that might look like something completely different. But listen to what you are feeling called to and just start to notice and trust yourself. And if you find yourself saying, I don't know what I'm being called to, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, catch those phrases and know that that is actually not true. You do know. And if you think about what do I want to do and what do I not want to do, that's a strong indication of what you're being called to. It's safe to trust the guidance of the desires of your heart and of your being. So just start to listen and catch those statements of I don't know and erase them from your vocabulary. You officially know the information lives inside of you. It is there. It's a matter of trusting yourself. Oftentimes it's a lack of trust in self that discredits what you already know. Again, I personally feel very strongly called to fasting, prayer, commanding authority, and calling in the support for the upheaval that is happening right now and the renewal that is simultaneously happening. So again, check out the video that I posted this past weekend around taking your power back and learning how to create with intention. You very much are a critical component to the renewal and the regeneration and the creation of the heaven on earth that is emerging right now. So definitely learn to participate in not only focusing on your own life and your own problems, but creating something greater for the collective whole. In this time of stillness, as the energy sort of declines and we are called to rest or internal reflection, you can start to ask the question around where do we want to see expansion? Certainly in my own life, but even in the world, where would we like to see things expand into the next level of goodness, of healing, of humanity's unification and coming together? And start to ask for that, but again, from a place with authority, call it in you. And as you look at where you want to see the expansion, we also can simultaneously look at what habits, what patterns, what do we need to let go of that is currently supporting that. And we can do that both on a personal level and a collective level. Reflect on what you have learned over these last 6-8 weeks, especially, and solidify what you have learned by making it conscious, by shining the light of awareness on it and reaffirming your commitment to stepping into what you are being called to right now. Take the time to contemplate the changes that you have made and that you want to make, and then express gratitude for what we've just been through, gratitude for the learning, the growth, the healing, the expansion, and for what is coming, what is already done. Is coming and already done all at the same time. Gratitude for your dreams, gratitude for the desires of your heart that are your compass towards your purpose. Really taking stock of how far you've come, even if you go back 6 months, 6 years, however far back you need to go to find yourself of coming to that place of, wow, look at how much has changed. Look at how much has changed. Look how far we've come. Look how close we are to heaven on earth. Okay. Message was fairly succinct this week, so I will keep it short. I love you, my friends, so very much. Do check out the tips to taking your power back posted this weekend, and I will see you on the next video. Namaste. Much love.